As the author of Sublime Text Command or Event Listener, frequently the functionality we want to provide requires us to know where in a file we are so that we can examine the content or extract some content or replace some content with something else. All of these operations require us to be able to know where we are inside of a file at any given point and reference spans of text to grab or erase. The thing that we use to do that in a plugin is twofold: points and regions, and we're talking about both of them today. Hello, fellow Sublime Text fanatics. Oda Nerd here. Welcome back to Plugin 101, the video course teaching you how to become a package and plugin author in Sublime Text. And the topic of today's lesson is points and regions. This is something that we touched on a little bit in the terminology lesson, but we're going to dive into it in a little bit more depth here because this is the first video on the channel in the month of December. It is December. That means it's November. We're devoting all videos on the channel this month to Plugin 101 to celebrate November and the idea that a little bit of coding knowledge is great for your general use in this world that is so technological. And to that end, over on the other channel, which is linked down in the description of the video in the end card theater at the end of every video on this channel, is my secondary channel where we're doing 2 live streams a week at minimum all through the month of December, working on a package called YouTuberizer, which allows you to manage a YouTube channel from directly inside of Sublime Text. So if you've ever wanted to watch someone work on a package, ask questions, how things work, why they work the way they do, just hang out with a bunch of really great people, then I would suggest that you subscribe to the channel, ring the bell notification icon. It'll tell you when we're going live. You can also follow me on Twitter at ODATNerd as well. But we are here not to talk about that so much as to talk about points and regions. The first of those things being, of course, a point. Now, we have covered this briefly in the terminology lesson a little ways back, but we're going to go into this in more detail here. Now, when we as humans look at the content of the file, generally we can, based on what type of information is in the file, be it Python code or prose or HTML or CSS, there's some structure to the file that we as humans can intuitively understand for the purposes of locating and navigating things. We might tell someone, look inside of the function named Bob, or inside of the CSS rule for the body, you'll find this. Or in chapter 3, paragraph 5, you'll find a reference to this character. Something along those lines. But at the lowest common point, when it comes to working with a file content in software, those sorts of abstractions aren't really available to us. And we have to fall back to a different way to navigate around inside of a file to know exactly where we are, where we like to go, and what it is that we're looking at. Traditionally, you might think of something like this intuitively as a series of lines and columns, because that's all really a file is a series of lines of text that we can reference by their line number. That's why software like Sublime and other text editors have line numbers along the left-hand side of a file to tell you what line a particular file is inside of the particular file, so you can jump to a specific line or know where you are inside of that file. And similarly, in any given line, there's a series of columns depending on how much text is in that line, so that you can not only say this line is interesting, but this specific character in this line, 5 characters long, 10 characters long, whatever it is the point that we're interested in. And you might think that that's how you work with the content of a buffer while you're inside of your Sublime Text event listener or command to figure out where you are so that you can replace text, grab text around you, something like that. But that's not actually how that works. Now, Sublime to us in the API references the file and gives us access to the file not as a series of lines of text, but as one long contiguous string of text that represents the entire contents of the file. Now, the line information is still present in the file. Everywhere where one line stops and the next one begins, there's a single new line character to tell you a new line starts here. This is the same sort of structure as you might actually find inside of the file as it sits on disk. Given that, if we want to know where we are inside of the file at any given point, Sublime doesn't tell us that by telling us you're on line 5, column 14. It tells us that by saying inside of this big long string of text, you are exactly at this offset. And that just so happens to be a particular line and column, but it is a single offset. And for that reason, the main way of knowing where you are inside of the content of the file is a point. point. Now, a point is literally just that, a point, a number, a single number that is telling you what offset from the start of the file you are currently sitting at. And if you need to go 5 characters back, you subtract 5. If you need to go 20 characters ahead, you add 20. And because the ends of the lines are individual characters, you don't have to worry about how the cursor wraps as you're going around one line to the start of the next one or off the end of the line to the next one. That's just automatically handled for you because you're indexing along the content of the string. Now, there are some things that happen here in order to make this easier for us to get our heads around. The first is that there are various different types of encodings that files can exist in, and those could be have each particular character in the file represented by 1 byte or up to 3 bytes if you happen to be using UTF-8 depending on the character, or 2 bytes or 4 bytes if you happen to be using different Unicode things, other situations like that. None of that matters. The indexes that you use as a point is always a character, regardless of how many bytes actually makes up that particular information. So you don't have to worry about whether the file you're looking at is a 32-bit encoding or an 8-bit encoding. It's still going to always be one point means going on to the next character. Secondly, you may be aware if you've used other operating systems or done any sort of software development that historically operating systems can't decide and agree with each other on what characters represent when a line stops and a new one begins. On Windows, that's a 2-character sequence of carriage return, then line feed. On Unix type systems like Linux and Mac OS X, that is a new line character instead. And in older Mac OS versions, in Mac OS Classic, if you will, Apple used the single carriage return character instead. So Windows used carriage return and line feed. Unix uses line feed, old Mac OS uses carriage return. But now Mac OS is, of course, a Unix POSIX-based system, so it respects that and does the same thing as Linux does. Nevertheless, that is 2 different types of characters that you might run into, 3 if you happen to be using older files or software that generates Mac files in the older line ending format. And you need to know what character. So we don't want to worry about that in our plugins either. For that reason, Sublime normalizes as it loads the file the new line characters, no matter whether it's carriage return and line feed or just carriage return. They're always normalized to be a single new line character inside of the content of the buffer. And then when the file is saved back, they're automatically converted back to the appropriate thing. So we don't need to worry about that at all. Also worth pointing out that yes, the point is the nicer way to navigate around inside of a file, but there are a lot of situations where you actually need to know the line in the column. The API has the ability to tell us about that information as well. And we're going to be seeing that in a future lesson here in November in this Plugin 101 series. So if you haven't already done so, you probably want to use those buttons down below to thumb, subscribe, and share. Ring the bell notification icon because we're going to be going into some examples that tell us how we might actually use a point, and then you'll get more information on that. Now, being able to know where you are in the file as a character offset is great if you want to know things like where the user right-clicked so that you can take a context-sensitive operation, or where the autocomplete item is about to insert, or where you're going to insert text. But there are a lot of cases where you don't want to know one particular location, you want to know a range of locations. If you wanted to erase a certain content of the buffer, then you need to know not just the position of where you want to start the erase, but also the position where you want to end the erase so that all the content can be collapsed in between and those 2 ends will come together. Or you might want to replace some content inside of the buffer. And again, you would need to know the place where you want to start replacing, the place where you're going to end the replacement, and then you do something with the text in the middle, and maybe the span of text gets smaller, or maybe it gets wider. And for situations like this, informational situations, we have something called a region. Now, a region is exactly what we have just said here. It is a set of 2 points, just 2 numbers that specifies a starting and an ending region of text, or a span of text, as I often like to refer to it, that is interesting in some fashion. And again, this could be for a variety of reasons why this span might be interesting to you. It might be the word under the cursor that you're about to extract and replace with something else. It might be representative of the place you're going to replace some text you're going to delete. region of text that you're going to draw a box around or a squiggly underline underneath to draw the user's attention to. All those things and more are represented by regions. And again, we're going to see some examples of that in some videos later on in the month of November so we can get a real concrete sense for what it is that we're talking about here. Now, regions themselves are actually a class. Unlike a point that's just a number and has no functionality, a region is an actual class. It's an actual class of things, and we can create one of those if we'd like to. And we create a region by giving it the beginning point and the ending point. And in doing so, we're specifying a region. Now, there's a few different ways that we could do this because a region could start at one character and end at the exact same character. Start at character 5, end at character 5. This is a valid region. What does it tell us? It tells us that this region covers no characters of text, rather. It starts at this character, it ends at this character. It hasn't spanned any text. Or you might say it starts at position 5 and it goes to position 10, which is a 5-character span of text. And that would be useful for a variety of reasons. You can also reverse the order of that to say it starts at 10 and goes to 5. So this the same two numbers, but they're in the opposite order. They still represent the same area of text inside of the buffer, the same region, if you will. But there are times when you might want to act on one end of the region versus the other, the start versus the end. And as a result, it's possible for regions to go both ways. Now, there's a lot of functionality that's available to us right out of the box with an actual region. We get to know things like whether one region covers another region completely, whether they intersect with each other, whether a single point appears inside of the region. You can also take two regions and add them together so that you get one longer region. You can take one and subtract another part of the region out of it to make it shorter. There's a lot of functionality in this particular situation. Now, we can create regions ourselves. There is a class method to be able to construct one. And regions will often be given to you as a result of calling different types of API operations. And one of the more common one of those you might find is given a particular point, something that you have been told as particular location in the file, you might want the actual content of the whole line that point is contained within. Of this, in this character that I've been given, what's the whole line? And you could actually extrapolate that if you wanted by examining the buffer, going backwards until you find a new line character and going forwards until you find a new line character. But there's a view method that will actually tell you this is the region that spans the line, and it gives you that whole thing in one easy step. And again, we're going to be seeing examples of this sort of thing, how you might actually create one of these things and what you'd use them for. But it is very important to keep firmly in mind that a region is nothing special. It's just a set of two different coordinates in a file that allows you to designate a particular region of a file as being interesting in some fashion. Now, as a quick recap on what we learned today, when Sublime loads a file, it presents it to us in the API as one long contiguous string of text. To make our lives a little bit easier in that regard, as it's loading the file, it normalizes the line ending. So whether you're on Windows, macOS, or Linux, the line ending character that's seen in the buffer is always a new line character. And when Sublime wants to tell us that something happened at a particular location, or we want to tell Sublime that something should happen at a particular location, that location information is conveyed by a point, which is just a regular number that is a character offset from the start of the buffer, 0 being the beginning and going forward from there. Now, sometimes you need to take an action over a span of text in the buffer to erase a region or replace a region with something else. Or Sublime might want to tell you about something interesting that happened to a particular area of text. To convey one of these areas of text, we use what's called a region, which is just a class that wraps 2 points, a beginning point and an end point. And everything that falls between those two locations is the thing that we want to modify or that something happened to. And regarding that, there's a lot of functionality here. Sublime uses regions and points a lot in the API. You have to provide them. It gives them to you. We're going to see a lot of examples of that in next week's lesson. So if you haven't already done so, use the buttons down below to thumb, subscribe, and share. Ring the bell notification icon 101 so you do not miss that particular lesson when it comes up, because it's really going to be helpful in your career working with text inside of a Sublime Text plugin. You may also want to subscribe to the channel that is linked in the description and here in the end card theater, because all through the month of December, we're doing 2 live streams a week over there working on a Sublime Text package. You can hop in, ask questions, get a lot more information about working with this sort of thing, and pick my brain. Whether you see me in the live stream or in another video here on the channel, you will see me again. Until then, this is ODAT Nerd asking you to please have a sublime day.